Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jenny. I'm here today to share with you the books I'm planning to read in May 2024. So, BookTube Prize is, I am judging for round 2. If you're not sure what BookTube Prize is, I'm going to put the link to the channel below so you can get all the details there. But basically, it's a book prize that is judged by booktubers and book lovers in general. And we read, this year, I'm reading 2023 nonfiction in this round and judging those books. So I didn't get as many read in April as I was hoping. And so I have 4 books out of the 6 that I will be reading for May. And the thing about BookTube Prize books, if you are not familiar, is that while they are being read, the judges are asked not to share their thoughts or their overall feelings about these books. So these books are not included in my general monthly wrap-ups. I will be making separate vlogs and separate ranking videos for those at the end of May. They will come out in June. So I'm just going to go through the books that I will be reading in May from this list. I'm in nonfiction group B. They're all bigger books. They're all longer. And so it took quite a while to get through. The first one I was reading in April, and now for May, I'm going to be finishing a memoir of my former self, A Life in Writing by Hilary Mantel, which is a collection of essays. So this one, I have started reading this one, and this one I'll be finishing in May. I will also be finishing Master, Slave, Husband, Wife by Il-Yan Wu, an epic journey from slavery to freedom. This is a real life story told about a couple who escape out of slavery. I will also be reading Doppelganger by Naomi Klein, A Trip into the Mirror World. This book was very, very popular at my library, so I had to get on a list and it came up for me, so I just went and grabbed it really quickly. So this one, I've only got 3 weeks with. And Crossroads, How Road Ecology is Shaping the Future of Our Planet by Ben Goldfarb. This will also be one that I read in May. And so, as I said, vlogs and ranking videos of these books will all be coming out in June. So that is my BookTube Prize reading. As you can see, it's quite heavy on the nonfiction. And what I've been noticing about my reading thus far in 2024 is that I'm reading, I think, more nonfiction than fiction for the first time ever in my life. That is just kind of a coincidence based on some other personal nonfiction reading that I'm wanting to do. So I'm choosing my fiction very carefully because it is an escapist sort of reading for me right now. Normally I would be reading several fiction books a month, and I am still getting through several a month, but it feels like I'm reading way more nonfiction this year. So it'll be interesting to see those stats at the end of the year. Okay, so for the fiction that I'm reading this month, I have 2 books that I'm going to put on this TBR. If by some miraculous chance I get through these books before the end of the month and I can add another fiction book into my reading near the end, I will. What I've been doing actually with my fiction reading is my audiobooks have been fiction, and then I usually listen to 1 audiobook a month, and then my nighttime reading, so the reading I'm doing before I fall asleep, I'm reading fiction. And that's when I allow myself the time to not be reading the books that I have to read for judging the prize, but to be just reading something for pleasure. And so what I chose to read at bedtime for the month of May is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. This is a reread for me. It's part of I picked out 5 books to reread in 2024, and this is on that list. 5 or 4, can't remember now, but anyway. I first listened to this book and I absolutely loved listening to it. So I'm very excited to read it this time in a physical copy and kind of be able to sit more with Mohsin Hamid's writing. I really enjoy his writing, and this is a shorter book. So I'm anticipating that, well, maybe it's not as short as it looks on the outside. it's 231 pages. So, but it's got quite a, a well-spaced font. So we'll see how long this takes me, but I'm very excited to reread this. I bought this copy a few years ago because I knew I loved this book, and now I get to just go back into this book is going to be a pleasure, I think. And then the other the other fiction that I'm reading for May is my audiobook, which is The Age of Light by Whitney Scherer. And this is a historical fiction based on the life of photographer Lee Miller. So Lee Miller started out as she was modeling for some of the famous artists of the day, but she wanted to pursue her own art career and her own photography career, and she actually was a war photographer as well. So I'm not exactly sure what period of her life this book takes place in. She has some controversy around her as well, around World War II and things that were happening at that time. And but I'm not exactly sure which period of her life this book follows. So I'm really excited to listen to this one and see if I'm going to add it to my list of books that I recommend based on artists. And so the other two books that I'm going to be reading for May are nonfiction again. So the first one is my read with my son Elliot. My son Elliot is 13 and we read together. Not every night, but often in the evenings before he goes to sleep. So we take quite a long time to read these books together, but that's fine. We're going to read The Lost Explorer, Finding Mallory on Mount Everest. We've actually already started this by Conrad Anker and David Roberts. So this is a really interestingly done book. Conrad Anker was part of a mission in 1999 to go onto the north face of Everest and look for the bodies of George Mallory and Sandy Irvine, who famously, perished on Mount Everest in a 1924 expedition. And the reason that there was so much hype around them was because people don't know if they summited and then perished, or if they perished before they made it to the summit. But it's quite a famous in the Everest climbing lexicon. It's quite a famous mystery. And so their body, I know Mallory's body was found on Everest in 1999 by Conrad Anker and his team. And so he is telling that part of the story of what it was like for them on the mountain, finding the body and everything like that. And then David Roberts is telling the other part of the story, Mallory and Irvine's story, their leading up to their expedition, the history around them, his family, their descendants, and all those things. So they're telling those two stories simultaneously in the text, and you're going back and forth. So far it's very, very interesting. And I have read Into Thin Air by Jon Krakauer. And I've watched several things about Everest. So I find the climbing mythos around Mount Everest quite fascinating. And so this so far has been really interesting. And then the other nonfiction I'm reading is Birds Art Life by Kyle McClear. This is a memoir, and this is a book. And also, I guess I can also include Master, Slave, Husband, Wife by Elon Wu as books I'm reading by Asian authors for May, because May is Asian History Month. And so this one is just, a really lovely little memoir about McClear becomes unmoors, lost in responsibilities to her ailing father, her children, and her work. And then she starts taking comfort in the birds that are around her in the city. And so if you're not familiar, I am quite into birds as well. And I enjoy reflective memoirs written by artists about things that interest them, their lives, and like how they move through creating while still having the challenges of living an everyday life. And this memoir is part of my 5-star predictions of memoirs for 2024. So that is what I'm going to be reading for May. I'm a little daunted by my BookTube Prize reading, to be honest with you. It's a lot of pages, and so it feels like I'm going to be reading right up to the wire this time. But I will get them done as I always do. I hope you have a really great reading month for May, and I will be back again soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching.